You've reached the Signal Watch. Movies, television, comics, and more. I'm your host, Ryan Steens. Join me and our cadre of co-contributors as we examine cultural artifacts of the 20th century, boldly explore the 21st, and try to put it all in perspective. Stay tuned. We're gonna try to make this work. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Signal Watch. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Steens, and with me today is...
Jamie Steens.
Jamie, we're doing something brand new here today that I'm hoping will become a birthday tradition.
We'll see.
Our birthdays are mere weeks apart.
Indeed.
And so what we're doing this year is Jamie has no idea what I'm about to put on the TV.
I'm so scared.
And on my birthday...
Also, he said we need drinks.
Yeah.
So I'm really scared.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be day drinking with the movies. So for my birthday, Jamie will then do same. She will provide me with a movie.
Which I have not chosen yet because I want to see what he chooses for me first.
I am... so excited about this selection. So Jamie, if you could hold the microphone while I get us set up.
Also, yeah, I'm not looking at the TV, by the way, so I have no idea what's up there.
Let's see if I can do this.
You tell me when I can look.
Can you look?
No! Oh, God damn it.
Jamie, what are we watching for your birthday?
Showgirls.
Showgirls. You excited?
No.
Any initial thoughts? Any initial impressions?
You know what I had written down?
No, because you did write something down.
I did, because it's something that you had been threatening to show me for years. Naked Lunch.
Oh, that might be next year.
Well, that's not a surprise.
Well, you don't know. You don't know what I'm going to do.
Okay.
So this year...
Shall we watch the movie and then come back?
Well, I mean, do you have any thoughts before we get going? Anything?
I mean, I know what you've told me about it.
Okay.
That it is, like, one of the unsexiest movies you've ever seen.
Well, I've now seen 50 Shades of Grey, so...
Well, okay. At the time.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. And anything else? I mean...
You might want to mute this. Okay.
I can't. It's not muting.
Okay.
Any other thoughts?
Just that I'm glad that I have booze.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I think that's plenty. And we will watch the movie and then be back with you immediately.
Wish me luck.
One, two, three, four. Okay, we're good. We are back.
Great.
So Jamie, you've just watched Showgirls in its entirety.
Yep. I don't know what to say. Like, that was the weirdest fucking movie I've ever seen. Like, there were so many different qualities. Like, it's so bad it's good was definitely there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was watching it and not wanting to stab myself in the eye.
You can't look away.
But, I will say this. I was nursing a Vesper the whole time.
Let's talk about what we drank.
Okay, so I had just had one Vesper. Now Vespers are very strong.
Yeah, it is.
I'm a lightweight.
Yeah, it's 3 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of vodka, and half an ounce of Lillet.
Correct. But I was not drunk when I was watching this. I just wanted, because I wanted to be able to talk at the end of this. Mm-hmm. I feel like I've accomplished that.
Okay.
Because I'm speaking.
Yeah.
But, you know, I also needed the libations to help me along and help me enjoy the movie, which I think it did. And, I mean, part of me was, like, enjoying the badness of it. Uh-huh. Until, like, minute... I don't know what minute. But, like, an hour and 50 minutes into this, there's a fucking gang rape.
Yeah.
Which kind of, like, just killed it for me. Like, I was going along with, like, ha ha ha, this is terrible, and, you know, I'm laughing at it. And then there's a gang rape at the end. And you find out she's a hooker. Yeah. Like it gets super, 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 super dark. Yeah. At the end of it. And now I don't know what to make of this.
So, I'll back up, because I'm the one who provided the movie. And in 1996, 7, probably 96... Okay. Is the only time I've ever seen this movie. I will say it was on VHS. It was the rated R version, and I was equally inebriated while I was watching it because it was for somebody's birthday.
Fair.
This is the NC-17 version.
Indeed.
And it's for somebody's birthday. Sorry.
Happy birthday.
I don't remember anything about this movie except for
the horrible sex scene.
The horrible sex scene and Nomi being completely out of control the entire movie.
Psychotic.
Yeah.
Well, and part of it is like, okay, is she written like this, or is what's her name, Elizabeth Berkley?
Yes. Elizabeth Berkley.
Well, I'm a little drunk. Is she that bad of an actress? Because she plays every single scene at an 11.
Jamie, I found it exciting, but I'm also scared.
Exactly. She's playing every scene as if I'm so excited, I'm so scared.
So if you don't know, the star of Showgirls is one Elizabeth Berkley, who played Jessie Spano for, I think, 4 seasons of Saved by the Bell. Maybe more if you include the, like, weird summer seasons. I'm not sure if
she wasn't in the weird summer seasons.
Okay.
It was the weird triplets.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
When I was in high school, everyone else was into Kelly Kapowski. Not I. I was a Jessie Spano man.
I would bet you were not alone in that. Maybe the people that you talk to, but
I know I wasn't alone in that.
Okay.
It's impossible to have been alone in that. Okay. But I was a Jessie Spano man. I'll just put it that way. And they put a movie out that promised ample nudity of Jessie Spano. And I was like, neat! Because that wasn't what I was expecting out of Elizabeth Berkley. I mean, it was kind of coming off of this period of, like, Marsha Brady's, like, you weren't expecting to see Maureen McCormick naked.
Right. That's a good, yeah.
And so I understood kind of later what had occurred, because I saw enough, like, Christina Aguilera is now going to be talked into, like, to be perceived as an adult, you need to do really sexy stuff to break away from your, like, Disney, image or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think she got talked into something. And I think, like, I'll be candid. Like, she's gorgeous. And I think that's all anybody saw, like, during the interview process. Like, she was willing to be naked, she's attractive, and
she can somewhat dance.
And she can somewhat dance.
Yeah.
She could do at least what they needed her to do for this movie.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was I'm drunk enough. So I had a Vesper and 2 Manhattans.
Ryan is drunker than I've seen him in a good long while.
Since really COVID started.
It is 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's 7 o'clock.
Oh my god. Okay, daylight savings.
Yeah. And so, anywho, it was going to provide something for her to do as an actor, and I don't think yet she was up to the challenge. If you think about where everybody else was at this point, Screech kind of disappeared for a while. Lisa Turtle began dealing with her mental health issues, which are well documented and fucking sad. Zach was off. He started showing up eventually about 4 years later on like cop shows.
Yeah.
Slater started years later showing up as like on Entertainment Tonight.
Yeah.
Programming.
Where I think you're going with this, and I wholeheartedly agree, this was overly ambitious for her. Like,
right.
You jump from... Saved by the Bell was basically like a Saturday morning kids show.
Yes.
For elementary / middle schoolers / ironic watching for high schoolers.
Yes.
And she jumped straight into big budget movies with like Kyle MacLachlan. Like, right. That is where she leapt. With the acting ability of someone who came from a Saturday morning kids show.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah. And every once in a while you see a glimpse of what they thought they were getting. And the other thing I would say is I thought the NC-17 cut was significantly better than the R cut.
I mean, there was more of it.
There was more of it, but it made sense in a way that the R cut, like, just kind of ended. And so I saw this once in 1996, I think, as I said. Again, I've had a lot of alcohol. And I watched it with my roommates, one of whom it was their birthday. And we rented this for him. And I just remember being exhausted at the end. But also, like, it wasn't that long. Like, I don't think the R cut is anywhere near this long.
Y'all, this was like
2 hours and 11 minutes.
2 hours and 11 minutes. Yeah. I mean, we kept having to stop to, like, feed the dog. Also, my dad called in the middle of it, and I was already buzzed. So, oh my God. I think I did a good job.
You did an amazing job. Your dad will never know.
Yeah. Unless he listens to this. But he doesn't listen to the podcast.
No.
So. Anywho. Hi, Dad.
Anyway, yeah, it was a big jump for Elizabeth Berkley to do one to the other. I mean, I know she was older than a high schooler by the time she finished.
Oh, and she was older than a high schooler probably when she was filming Saved by the Bell.
That's what I mean. Yeah. But yeah, it was a lot for her to suddenly do. Jamie, I do want to ask, what is this movie about?
I mean, I've had too much alcohol to really answer that question properly.
What occurs in the movie?
Okay.
Let's give it the South Coast Media plot synopsis.
I mean, I understand why you're making me do this, but this is going to be painful for everyone. Okay, so Elizabeth Berkley is, we know nothing about her. This movie starts with her,
her name is Nomi. Know me.
Oh, I just got that.
Yeah. This movie's got layers.
So she is, hitchhiking at somewhere that's snowy, and that is approximately, and we see this because there is a sign, 42 miles to Las Vegas, which is a random ass sign.
Mm-hmm.
So where she's coming from, I have no idea. Maybe Montana or something. Whatever. She gets in this dude's truck.
Mm-hmm.
with a knife.
He looks like Elvis.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Elvis. With a knife, because she wants to show him that she wants no funny business up front. And she just tells him, I want to dance. And she's like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to Vegas, which, is the sign that she was standing right next to. So they indeed go to Vegas. They go into the
Riviera.
The Riviera. Mm-hmm. And he gives her $10. And he's like, go gamble. I want half of it. And then he wanders off. So then she's going to
go talk to his uncle. He claims he has an uncle working at the Riviera.
Which does not come up again. She immediately wins a shit ton of money at a slot machine. And she's like going, and like playing with the coins that come out of it. And then this...
it's girlish glee.
Yeah, it's girlish glee. This woman worker comes up and she's like, how about a silver dollar? Which means nothing.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, and so she goes and plays more slot. And then she loses all of her money. So she... then a guy comes up and like propositions her.
Yes.
For some reason.
Yeah, because that is Vegas.
That's what happens in Vegas. Yeah. That's everyone's experience. And so then she proceeds to, very upset, runs into traffic across the street, dodging cars. Mm-hmm. And then realizes that the guy who she came with, his truck is gone. And her suitcase is gone.
She's been robbed.
Yeah. So she starts, like, beating up against this car that's, like, right there. Mm-hmm. And just screaming. And so this girl comes along, and she, is the owner of the car. And they kind of get into a fist fight. And then... she pukes. Nomi throws up blood.
I don't know. She throws something
makes no sense. This is, like, literally the first, like, 7 minutes of the movie, by the way. And then suddenly they're like eating, she buys her a burger and a giant Coke, and then they're best friends, and she asks her to move in with her.
Yes. It'd be like if you met a crazy hobo and you were like, you know what?
We should be besties.
You should live in my home.
Yeah. So they do. And it's like 3 months later, and they're like living in an RV or something.
A trailer home.
Trailer home. And she's got a job at a stripper joint.
Cheetahs.
Yeah. And she's stripping. And, there's
a hilarious comedian.
Yes. And her gag is, she's a little hefty. And as we all know, that's just fucking hilarious.
Uh-huh.
And her gag is that she has this dress where when she presses a button, the top flies off and it goes honker like a clown noise.
A clown noise.
And shows her tits.
Yeah.
So that's the whole joke.
That's her thing. She tells dirty jokes.
The entire movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. So yeah, she's stripping at this place. And because she wanted to be a dancer. A serious dancer. Also, along the way, character development, she goes dancing with her roommate. And because she is such an amazing dancer, you guys. She's on the floor and she's showing off her moves that, like, are similar to what I did when I was, like, 10 years old. Mm-hmm. Like, she thinks she is so hot shit. And her new friend that she meets, who is, like, standing at the bar, agrees.
Dance guy.
And he comes and he's like, can I dance with you? She's like, I am dancing. And he's like, no, I mean dance with me. She's like, okay. So they dance, and they both dance exactly the same.
Yeah, it's
which
really
is like
good.
What I would make up when I was 10 years old and dancing in my room.
Uh-huh.
Basically. Yeah, which is not good. So yeah, what else happens? Oh, so there is a big show in Las Vegas.
Uh-huh.
What is the name of the show, Ryan? Goddess. The name is Goddess. And
it's like the Stardust.
Who's the name of the actress?
Gina Gershon.
Oh, it's Gina Gershon. Mm. And her boyfriend is the producer of the show, and that's Kyle MacLachlan. And they decided to go to... I can't remember if they've met before. I think they have.
They have.
In some way.
Well, because her crazy roommate who lets her live with her is the costumer for Cheetah.
No. Goddess.
Goddess.
Yeah. And she invites her to come with her.
Right. And she's going to wear the dress that she made for her.
Right.
Which is amazing.
That's what they tell us. They
tell
it
is.
But they also tell us it's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like all Fringe or some shit.
Yeah.
And she's like, wait. I can't go with you. You have to put my hair up. She's like, we don't have time.
We don't have time for you to do a bun.
Yeah. But whatever. She shows up in a bun. None of this makes sense anyway.
No, it's a messy bun.
Yeah.
We don't have time.
So she goes to the show, and for some reason, she meets Gina Gershon.
Uh-huh.
She's kind of starstruck.
Uh-huh.
And Gina Gershon thinks that's hilarious. She's like, oh, where do you work? She's like, oh, the Cheetah. And she's like, oh, that's cute. So because she feels threatened by her for some reason,
she has a complete meltdown.
No reason to feel threatened by her. Because that's Elizabeth Berkley's MO. The entire thing is she just is having meltdown after meltdown.
Okay, so I will say this: the first time I watched this movie, that was all my takeaway of Elizabeth Berkley was all she does is have meltdowns.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I was wrong about that take.
You're not, but there might be something deeper to that. Maybe. I don't know. But she had fewer meltdowns than I remembered her having. No, she has a lot of meltdowns.
I think the movie was longer as NC-17, so it was more interspersed.
She overreacts to fucking everything in this movie. Anyway, we're getting behind it.
No,
so,
it's all
Gina
part of the
Gershon and Kyle MacLachlan show up at the Cheetah show.
Yes.
And ask her for a lap dance.
In the private room.
In the private room. And she's like, no. And they're like, $200. No. $300. No. $400. No. $500. And then her boss comes up. He's like, yes. You gotta do it.
It's that bad guy from the 80s.
Yeah. So she goes back to the private room with both of them. And she's like, Gina Gershon's like, give him a lap dance and I want to watch. So, this is totally not safe for work, by the way. Like, being totally obscene. So she, gives her version of a sexy lap dance.
Uh-huh.
Which is basically taking off all of her clothes and flipping around like a dolphin.
Yes.
On Kyle MacLachlan's lap.
Eee!
And she makes him come in his pants.
Jizz in your pants.
Jizz in his pants.
Yeah.
Look it up on YouTube. It's an SNL skit.
Yeah.
It's not, it's dirty, but it's not dirty. Anywho, yeah, she makes him jizz in his pants.
Yes.
And Gina Gershon really likes it.
She loves it.
Loves it. So, anyway, shortly afterwards, she gets an invitation to audition for Gina Gershon's show, which is Goddess. To be like, an extra. And she shows up in like a full outfit, and the guy who invited her is like, or no, sorry, the
let me be really clear.
Go ahead.
She is wearing a skin tight shirt that shows off her cleavage very nicely.
But everyone else is wearing like a bikini.
Well, they're wearing their bras.
Yeah. And he's like, you look like Pollyanna. So she goes backstage and basically takes off all her clothes.
Rage removes the top.
Yeah. Rage removes her like down to her bra and panties and whatever. So she goes out and dances and everyone's like, you're in the show.
I want to be really clear. This movie has so many breasts to the point where
it's just...
it being interesting as a hetero dude loses its appeal after about the 1/3 mark.
I mean,
to where you're not really seeing boob anymore, which
I would think it'd be before that, but I'm not,
because there's anyway.
Okay, go ahead.
There's so much boob in this movie.
So much.
It really, like, I don't know how to really talk about the fact that like boob gets boring or it fades into the background, but it very quickly does in this movie.
Yeah. Well, okay, but let me add to that, because it's not just like there's overabundance of boob. It's also that it's everything that they do, like the choreography is so unsexy. It's because it's so aggressive. They're like naked fighting at you.
Yes.
And it's like watching someone like do housework while they're naked. Like, they're doing the gymnastics while they're naked in the beginning of this movie. And they're like, you know, like, everything is just so overly aggressive that it's so unsexy. Am I right?
Yeah, so Seinfeld had a whole episode about, like, good naked, bad naked, about, like, you don't want to see someone open a jar of pickles naked.
Correct.
And this kind of verges on jar of pickles naked.
Yeah. Like literally what I said. All of the choreography is like they're angry. Mm-hmm. And they're like doing overly aggressive movements naked. And it's just like, how is this supposed to turn anyone on?
So, yeah, it's an interesting question. And I think, so, that's about as much plot as I really want to get into. Because Nomi joins the show. She eventually becomes the understudy to Gina Gershon through...
And they're basically like kind of flirt fighting with each other the entire movie.
Yeah.
And then she eventually like pushes her down the stairs and takes her spot.
Yeah. I don't know what this movie is about. This is the second time I've seen it.
There's no plot.
There's a plot.
It's thin.
Yeah, it's very thin. I suspect it asks that you want to write a master's thesis on it, and you're going to analyze everything that happens in the movie. Because I think there's something there. I think so. It's written by Joe Esterhaus and directed by Paul Verhoeven, who I'm very drunk and I did not look it up, but I think they worked on Basic Instinct together.
Sounds right.
We're going to say it's right for the purposes of me being drunk. And I think what they were trying to do was say something about America. I think they're trying to say something about our relationship with sex, our relationship with showing sex. And I think they were trying to say something about how it's both commerce and art and various other things that get kind of all poured into this one punch bowl of the movie we call Showgirls. And if you reach in with your dipper, all you get is like a weird, bland sort of thing.
I don't disagree with you, and I think there very much is something to say about all of that. But this movie is not it. And I think the biggest example of why that's true is the beginning and the end of this. Uh-huh. Because she gets picked up by this guy to go to Vegas. Uh-huh. And at the end of it, she is hitchhiking out of Vegas and gets picked up by the same dude.
It's art, Jamie. Don't you see how it's symmetry?
I really think that there's something to that. But this movie didn't do it.
So I think what they were trying to say is like her we find out with like maybe 7 minutes to spare in the movie.
Her good friend, she hooks her good friend up with this like really famous like Chris Angel type dude who comes into town. I think he's supposed to be a singer, but he looks like whatever. Yeah. And she hooks her up with him, and then basically he and his bodyguards gang rape her, which is, you know,
gross and horrible. Yeah.
Really upsetting. And then it comes out that, you know, she was a hooker, and her dad kills her.
Nomi played by Elizabeth
Sorry, yes. Yeah. And like she says the whole movie like, oh, my family's dead, but like her dad killed her mom or something, and then she became a hooker. I don't know. It's just totally horrible.
Yeah. I don't know what they're trying to do there. I don't know what they're trying to say. I think they were trying to do something with like the lost girls who are in Vegas and why or something.
Yeah. And again, there would be something there in a better movie.
Yeah. So I hadn't been to Vegas the first time I saw this movie. I have been to Vegas multiple times since I saw this movie. Jamie and I,
for various reasons, such as work.
Yeah.
With me, and then like a guy's trip. So all very, and also the trip with me was like during 9/11. So all very different experiences.
Yeah. I've never seen a show like the one that occurs. So the whole thing of her like being famous from being in this show is really fascinating, because if you've been to Vegas, I expected when I got to Vegas, like, I was going to be told, like, so-and-so is in such and such show.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that, like, I know there are definitely Showgirls shows. There absolutely are. But I feel like the big, let's call it budget, shows are all, like, you know, famous people.
It is now.
I don't know that there are, like, famous stars of Showgirls shows like they portrayed in this.
I don't think there ever were.
Right.
I don't think there ever will be. They kept hinting at, like, oh, well, shows like this tend to get people like Paula Abdul or LaToya Jackson.
They kept saying that, like, oh, Gina Gershon is irreplaceable. Like, I never saw her do anything in the shows that wasn't, like, anything else that the background dancers were doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of telling us about how amazing she was.
Like, she comes in on strings from the ceiling, or comes up from a volcano, but, like, she's not doing anything.
Yeah, they don't really explain why she's famous.
No.
I mean...
And maybe that's why she's so, like, threatened by Nomi's, because she knows she's shit. I don't know. But they never go into that.
No, they never do. Yeah, Gina Gershon was pitch perfect casting, by the way, I think, for this part.
She may have been the best part of this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had just seen her in Bound maybe the year before, which, if you've not seen it, is a great noir movie. It's she and Jennifer Tilly basically fall in love and push back against Joey Pantalones or whatever his name is.
I mean, to be honest, that was the only interesting part of this. Is, like, I thought she had better chemistry with Nomi than Nomi did with Kyle. Like, Kyle MacLachlan and her had zero chemistry.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Like you said, like, your only takeaway from was their sex scene, and it was basically like a couple of dolphins in a swimming pool.
My blurry 90s memory of the movie was it being super awkward, and then the worst sex scene I'd ever seen in a movie, which it was Elizabeth Berkley writhing around on top of Kyle MacLachlan in a pool.
Well, the funny thing is, like, it's like they're in two completely different scenes, because he is playing it like a normal sex scene in a pool. He's just, you know, kind of like doing appropriate amount of, like, sorry thrusting. Yeah. And she is just, like, flapping around like she's having a freaking seizure on his lap. No, not even on his lap, like on his stomach.
Yeah, it has a real, like, Cinemax late night, like, if you've ever seen any of those movies and you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense when you're looking at the people supposedly having sex. It's like that. It's like, well, if she did that, she'd no longer be anywhere near his penis. And, I mean, unless he's got an amazing Reed Richards penis, which is possible. I don't know what Kyle MacLachlan's like. I mean, he could be packing a 28-inch penis in there. I don't know. I don't want to rule anything out.
I'm not going to be able to post this.
But in the course of the sex scene, she is elevated, I would say, good 6 inches above his navel.
Almost out of the pool.
Yeah. And whatever she thought she was doing that was sexy, I feel very badly for whoever Mr. Berkley is.
Well, and, like, was she directed to do that?
That's what I don't know. And that's the question. That's the nut of the movie, Jamie, is the nut.
So to speak.
That we're gonna bust. Is that did they mean it? Did they mean any of this?
I mean, possibly. But then you look at the rest of her acting, and it's like, maybe they told her to do that. I don't know.
Someone said cut, print, great. Moving on. Yeah. On every one of these scenes.
Yeah.
Someone watched the dailies and said, this is working. Yeah. And in no scene, I feel really bad. Like, I had a real crush on Jessie Spano in high school. I don't want to trash her. But in every scene that you watch her in, you're like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, you kind of get it, like, when you're watching like, the scenes in the Cheetah, when, like, she's naked and she's dancing around and she seems game for what they're trying to do. But then, like, it would have been very hard in 1990 whatever to find an actress who was like, top, bottom, it's all optional, I'm gonna do it. And they needed a star, air quotes, star to do this.
Yeah. And
this is kind of about 2 years before, maybe right simultaneous with when I watched it on VHS versus when I remember the conversations really starting of why do actresses have to get naked in movies. Like, that started to disappear right at this time.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when the Demi Moore movie came out.
Striptease?
Yes.
That would have been 1995, which is...
That was before this?
I remember...
I thought she was older than that then.
No, it came out when I was in the middle of film school.
Oh.
Actually, it was whenever I had Richard Lewis's class. So whatever year that was. Ooh, that was way later. That would have been like 97.
Well, then your argument holds. I mean, there definitely was a conversation about that. Because it stopped.
Yeah.
At some point.
You exit the 90s with a dearth of nudity in movies.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Showgirls didn't kind of push the conversation. People really didn't turn up for this movie, as I recall. It kind of flopped and then kind of became a huge thing on VHS and has had a second life as a, like, there was a Showgirls like 20th anniversary edition you could buy in Blu-ray that came with like poker chips and stuff like that.
I mean, I can honestly see this being like a cult classic almost.
Well,
in the vibe of like The Room. Not that way, but just like bad movie cult classic.
No, I think I know what you mean. And you know, on the back of the Blu-ray, in all fairness, that's what it says. It's a camp classic, is how it classic. That's the first thing it says. That's a better way to phrase it, yeah. And I think that's true. I think they were reaching for something, trying to say something about sex and how we sell ourselves, and that just doesn't actually add up. It might if you work in an industry where body and body image like is forefront, like Hollywood, frankly. It makes way less sense for the whole rest of us. Like, I
mean, she just, Nomi has a really weird, I mean, I think it's supposed to be her history with she's a hooker, but they don't frame it well enough. Like, she's a really weird relationship with sex in that she strips for a living. Mm-hmm. She makes dudes jizz in their pants for a living. Like, she's
deeply resistant to that idea, though.
Yes. And the guy that we talked about earlier that she meets in the club, who somehow is hanging around cheetahs later, so maybe he works there too. Who knows? She goes over to his place at one point, and okay, this scene was freaking hilarious because he's like, oh, I was in, what's the
Alvin Ailey,
the very respected ballet company. He said he was in Alvin Ailey, and he's like, oh, I choreographed this show. He's like, let me show it to you, and then she, starts dancing with him. And this scene is so, I was saying to Ryan, reminded me exactly like what my friends and I would do when we were 10 years old, and we were like choreographed dances in our rooms, and we would be like, this is really good. This is good, y'all, right? Yeah, this is totally good. I mean, that's what it looked like, because it was the shittiest choreography I have seen in a very long time. Anywho, where was I going with this? Oh, and then she's like grinding on him, like very sensually, and it seems to be going somewhere, and then she like totally goes, oh, I'm not having sex with you. I'm leaving. How dare you, basically, and just runs out.
She says something along the lines of like, I'll have sex with you when
you're in love with me. Like, how old are you? Anywho, I mean, and I'm not, whatever, she doesn't feel like it, but I don't know. She's sending some very mixed messages here.
Whatever they were trying to say with her relationship to sex,
swing and a miss.
Yeah, it didn't land. It doesn't really make sense.
Like, she comes back to his place later, and he's like in the like he has a lady friend who's like getting up naked from the bed, and she gets so upset. Like,
yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Like, she didn't even seem that into him.
No, she seemed to reject him.
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to say something in that scene about like, oh, he's also a con artist, like everyone's a con artist.
I didn't get that.
Yeah, I think that's what they were trying to get at. And then, of course, later they show their dance, and it's actually not very good.
No, it's terrible.
Everyone's booing them.
Because he's trying to, like, make it with his sophisticated choreography in Las Vegas at a seedy club. Like, no, people are there to see boobs. What are you doing? Go to New York or something.
It's kind of funny. Like, what is it, the Jennifer Beals movie?
Oh, yes.
Flashdance.
I got definite dance vibes from that plot point.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, it feels like people have never actually been to a strip club who make movies, which is absolutely not true. And it doesn't cost much to do your research if you do want to go into a strip club to find out how they work. I guess this is me admitting I've been in strip clubs, but you pay your dollars to get in, and then you just kind of sit there, and then shit happens. There's no comedians. That's left over from an idea from like the 50s and 60s. We're like, we gotta do a burlesque. We're not doing just like a strip show. The private room thing, very real, I guess. I know they're there.
You said I guess.
Well, I have never been in the private room. That seemed like a bad idea. And but there's like champagne lounges and all that, all the rest of this stuff. There's all the ways they find to take money from you when you're there. But the idea of like, when I watched Flashdance the first time, which was in your apartment in college, like...
Really?
Yeah. I kind of had a good laugh at it, because I was like, what are they doing?
Oh,
this isn't how strip clubs work.
No, it is not. But they were trying to make like a PG movie out of the strip dance. Sorry, the strip... Because
there's like the weird, like, kabuki dance sequence and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird dance sequences.
Like, that's not how this works.
They're trying to be like overly arty and creative, and then like no one actually takes their top off. I'm like, that's just, PG burlesque or something.
Yeah, it's very sweet, but it's not how things work.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
And similar to this, like the idea of, like, you wouldn't go to Vegas likely if what you're trying to do is put on like something arty.
No.
Like, you can go literally anywhere else in America, but trying to do it on stage at a strip club in Vegas seems limiting. So, I mean, they were trying... I think when we actually see the number, we see it's supposed to be sexy, but it's like this interpretive dance thing, and it's just not going to land. Like, take that to UNLV, take it like literally anywhere else, but I don't entirely follow that plot point, because they try to do something of like, well, he's an artist, but he's also about to give it up. They use him as the example of the person who's going to wash out, and he's gonna go. He got the dancer pregnant now, and he's gonna go do the right thing and marry her and go work in a grocery store somewhere with her. None of which actually tracks or makes a whole lot of sense. So I don't know. I mean, it's not like Showgirls is a good movie you should spend that much time thinking about. But it is a very long movie with a lot of stuff occurring minute after minute after minute, which is mostly tied together.
Yeah, I mean, here's my advice. If you do watch it, have some alcohol.
Yeah.
It definitely helps. That's it. That's my advice.
Yeah.
But also don't watch it.
I mean, it's a weird thing as like a straight dude to watch something and like that's not porn where like you just get tired and worn down of like what they're offering up.
Well, and here's also another weird thing about the movie. It's like, I think it's very much a product of its time.
Yeah. In
that if this movie were made today, which it wouldn't be, I don't think. I mean,
oh my God, no.
I mean, they would have gone in whole hog with we're having the girls hook up, because there was so much flirting, not only with her roommate, but definitely with Gina Gershon. They even have them kiss at some point, but it's played off as like, oh, isn't this titillating? And that is so very 1996.
I completely agree. I remember watching it the first time and being like, "That's all y'all are gonna do."
I feel like, and I feel like where I'm going with this. Again, they wouldn't make this now, but if they did, like, they would have them be in an actual relationship, because of any of the relationships that I saw in this movie that were anywhere near interesting, it was their relationship.
Yeah. They seem they for whatever reason, despite everything else that's going on, they seem afraid to cross that line, and I don't know why. Like,
because it was 1996.
Well, the crazy thing is, like, Gina Gershon had become a thing because of Bound, which they'd run screaming through that line, and like,
yes,
this is what's happening.
That was an art movie. This was not.
This movie wants to be an art movie so bad.
Ugh.
It does. It wants to be an art movie full of boobies, and I respect that. I don't think it's a bad choice. But if nothing else, like, it reminds you that how prude we've all become. Like, this movie in a million years would never get made now.
You say that, but think about all the shows that HBO produces now.
It would be an HBO show now.
Yeah, but like, you say how prude we've all become. Like, we watch those shows and watch dongs swinging around. That's true. Not even blink.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
None of that bothers anyone.
So I think, okay, so to your point, why not? And I think because movies to be made need to, right out of the gate, earn back their cost. Mm-hmm. Which means you need overseas, and overseas markets are more conservative than the American market. That is
maybe true. Yeah,
I think it's definitely true.
Yeah. I mean, I don't live overseas, so I can confirm that.
Well, you can't release this in China.
Right. I mean, I think there are people in China that would watch it, but I think the government would
shut it down. Yeah. I would love to see the Chinese government cut of this movie be 15 minutes.
If that.
Yeah.
Because if there's not boobs, there's violence and people screaming. That's the other thing. Like, there's not even like normal human interaction in this.
No.
Because even the background players are always just in fights with each other.
Yeah.
Like the background dancers in the backstage area are constantly just screaming at each other.
There's a whole thing with like monkeys.
Oh yeah,
and there's a whole thing.
There's monkeys, and then there's kids.
Yeah,
like, someone brings their kids to work, and they're like all upset because someone uses the F word in front of them. It's like, it's a strip club.
Yeah,
What is happening?
It's such a strange movie.
It's so weird.
It just seems so like everyone must have been on cocaine who was like writing it and directing it and thinking about what reality was going to be.
There is also cocaine in this movie. I said that weird.
Cocaine.
I said cocaine, which is how I'm going to say it from now on.
Cocaine.
It's funnier. So Gina Gershon is constantly snorting cocaine in this.
Yeah.
And then in one scene, after she boings Kyle MacLachlan, Nomi gets up and like snorts cocaine and then leaves.
Yeah, I think
it's like that's it.
I think it's she's going to replace her, and so we have to do this thing of like now she's on the arc of becoming Gina Gershon.
But that didn't land at all.
No, it will. One, it's so projected and like obvious, and two, it doesn't really work.
No.
But yeah, it's bad. I don't know what to say about it. The final thing of like her exiting town with refinding the Elvis guy who's now headed back out and him recognizing her, and then there's like a big billboard at the end that's like Nomi whatever her last name was is in
the goddess.
The goddess. And you kind of go, well, she's a total idiot. Like
what did she,
where is she going now?
Did she quit?
She did.
Yeah, I guess
she's
so.
leaving Vegas behind, but they don't ever really explain why. I mean, they show a lot of bad shit happen, but it's like, it's not like she's had great shit in front of her.
She got into a screaming match with the producer of the show, so I'm assuming she got fired / quit.
I don't even remember that now. Did she?
I mean, Kyle MacLachlan.
She did?
Yes.
Okay.
They were like yelling at each other.
I don't know.
Well, remember, okay, here's the deal. So they were all in the hospital together because
the booze hit very hard towards the end of the movie.
Let me remind you all, if you've forgotten, at the end of this movie, her best friend got gang raped.
Right, that was unpleasant.
At a party.
Horrible.
And at the same hospital, down the hall, was Gina Gershon, who she pushed down the stairs.
She pushed her down the stairs.
And she goes and visits both of them at the same time. So she goes to call the police on a payphone, because it's 1986, and Kyle MacLachlan comes along and he's like, no, you can't do that. And he's got the folder on her that his buddy brought over.
Yeah.
That has like all her grubby history of, she was a hooker and her dad killed her mom or whatever, and she's been in jail, blah 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 blah. Anyway, he's like threatens her with that, so she's out of the show, I guess. The end.
I don't know. Vegas is a weird town. Like the last time I was there was for like a library conference, and librarians are super, super lefty. Like, let me just full stop you on that one. Like, just be aware. So, after they'd scheduled this conference, this national conference in Vegas, suddenly they freaked out and realized, oh my God.
We scheduled a conference in Vegas.
People might get triggered. And so, and I was trying to explain. So we'd left Utah. I'd been at a different conference, and I'm driving my coworker down from Utah to Vegas, and I'm trying to explain to him, like, look, dude, you've never been in a town like this. You will never be in another town like this. Like, it's the weirdest mix of middle America and fucking
and sin.
Yeah, and
it's so weird.
So we pull up to some intersection where I'm taking him to his hotel. We weren't staying at the same place. I was staying at the Tropicana. I don't remember where he was. And at the same intersection, there is a 6-story ad for Marie Osmond.
I want to think that it's 6 foot.
It's 6 foot. It was a 6-story ad for Marie Osmond, who, I mean, if that's what you're into, great. But it's not what people think
Marie
about for banging.
In Vegas.
Yeah. But she's doing something wholesome there. You know that. And then in front of us drives, across the same intersection, a truck with a flatbed with one of those stand-up ads for basically a strip club. And I was like, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This is Vegas.
Yeah.
And that is Vegas. So the librarians decided what they needed to do was put the conference, to get it away from the Sin, out at a different resort that was marginally outside of Vegas. So all of us who'd booked on the Strip had to take a shuttle like 20 minutes out of town to someplace that also had gambling and blah, 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 and everything else that Vegas has. It just also had a golf course. So we're in the middle of nowhere having to have this freaking conference. It was mind-melting that we had to do all of this. And I had to keep paying for Ubers and everything else to get around while I was there. But it's, you walk around and, you can go see the lights at the Bellagio and go see the fountain, and that's fun. While you're there, you're standing next to some dude who's making a job out of dressing up as Batman. Mm-hmm. Next to him is someone who's dressed up as, like, S&M cop.
Right.
Next to her is, like, a girl who's dressed up as if she's one of the girls from the Riviera with, like, the feathers on her head.
I mean, there are definitely people that take their kids there.
Yeah.
So, there has to be stuff for kids, but then stuff for, like...
Do not take your children to Las Vegas.
But then it's the place for, like, guys' weekends and, bachelorette parties.
It's the place where they hand you flyers or prostitution is legal.
Yes.
It's a very, very strange town. The time before that I was there was for a guy's weekend, was to go drink and shoot machine guns. I'll be totally candid. And I was drunk the entire time I was there shooting machine guns. But you can only handle about 48 hours there. By the 72nd hour, you need to be on a plane and out.
To bring it back to the movie, I think Ryan said in the middle of us watching this feels exactly like what it feels like to be in Vegas. Because we were both, Ryan was drunk, I was slightly buzzed. And it's just like, you're watching strippers and monkeys running around. Like, yes. This is what it feels like to be in Vegas.
The whole town is too much. It's
too much. The movie is too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in some ways, hats off, movie.
Yeah. Yeah, if you needed a weekend in Vegas, you think you needed one, just put in this movie, and you'll
save money.
Yeah, 3 cocktails, and you'll be like, oh my God, that weekend in Vegas was exhausting. Like, that was 2 hours and 11 minutes. Yeah. And you're like, shit.
Yeah.
What just happened?
We just saved you time and money. Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Anyway. I didn't not enjoy watching Showgirls till about the last 15 minutes, and then I felt really bad because I didn't remember that was how it ended.
It's got a grim ass ending that I did not expect.
Yeah. My suspicion is that was a pivot. That was supposed to happen to Nomi in the original script, or something like it.
I don't know.
Because it just seemed random.
It seemed super random.
And so...
Like, shit didn't need to get that bad for her to leave town.
No.
They did not need to have that scene in there.
There's no self-realization out of that scene. That's something happening to somebody completely else.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of... It's totally gross.
Yeah. It's about as gross as you can possibly make it.
Yeah.
And not... doesn't drive the story particularly forward. It's anyway. But up until that scene, and I frankly didn't remember it from the first time I watched the movie at all.
Maybe it was just in the NC-17 version, but I don't know how it would have ended.
I mean, they could have cut all of that out and had her just go talk to Gina Gershon.
Yeah, but why would she have left town? Because she felt bad? That would have been a better ending. Like, if she had come to the realization that this has made me a bad person.
This made me push someone down a stairwell. Because I pushed someone
down the stairs.
Yeah.
That would have been a much better movie. I mean, okay. I'm giving it too much credit. Much better movie. It would have been a better ending.
It would have at least tied to the character's journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anywho. This was my birthday movie.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Holy shit.
Holy shit. Now I have to think of something for you.
Yeah. Can you top it?
I have no idea.
We're going to do each other so much damage.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what you come up with. If it's Nuki, I'm walking out the door.
I'm not going through Nuki again. God. Anywho.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. If you're still here,
if you're still here. Yeah. I can't find the stop button because I'm that drunk and I'm not wearing my glasses.
You're not drunk?
No, I am. A little.
You just said you couldn't find the stop button because you're not drunk.
No, I'm. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
That about wraps it up for this edition of The Signal Watch, a production of the League of Melbotus. Thanks for sticking with us. If you enjoyed the podcast, we invite you to drop on by the Signal Watch blog, where you'll find write-ups of a wide variety of movies and more. We'd love to hear from you, so find us online and let us know what you think. Whether you prefer email, blog comments, or social media, we'll be happy to hear from you. We'll be back soon with more exceedingly high-quality content. So, until next time, God damn it, babies, you've got to be kind.